go live button. This is some live gameplay. Here we go. We are going live right now. And we're live. Fantastic. Hey everybody, my name is Andrew Wall, host and executive producer here at Illuvium. And yes, you are watching live gameplay of Illuvium Overworld Beta. And on this call with me, I've got the top brass on the internet here with me. I've got Andrei, hopefully I didn't mispronounce your name there. Overworld Lead on the call with us. Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, buddy?
Hello, everyone.
Perfect. We've also got Ben, head of design at Illuvium. Big Brain Ben is on the call to give us insights on the Illuvium Overworld Beta. Ben, how are you doing, amigo?
I am well. I think I'd go for moderate-sized brain, Ben, but I am well. Thanks for having us.
Perfect. There's that crass sense of humor. And of course, Aaron Warwick, co-founder of Illuvium. Is it fair to say game director, Aaron, or is that inaccurate? It's hard for me to pin down your title. You kind of do everything around here.
I do everything and nothing, but game director sounds fine. Sounds pretty fancy.
Everything and nothing. Perfect. So everybody has context. You are watching just raw gameplay of the Illuvium Overworld Beta right now. I'm playing on a 3080 graphics card, and the developers are going to comment on this, and I've got max graphics going right now. So crank up the quality and enjoy. As everybody's dropping into the overworld, Aaron, what is the lore that they know coming into this? This is one of the best kept secrets in gaming. What is the lore of this universe even? So what do they know coming into this, Aaron?
At the moment, I would say that the most that they will know is that they have crashed onto this planet. Obviously, that was a mistake, and now their job is to fix that mistake in whatever way they can. There's a lot more of a deep story into why they're here and the overall narrative that we will explore when the game goes live. Most of that will be at least hinted at in the cinematic intro that will start up when you play the game when it goes public for the first time. But until then, really, people have only been able to scrape together tiny little snippets here or there. I've thrown some hints around for quite a while now, but I think that there's no one that's really fully understood it. But they will know that there are Illuvials on this planet that they can capture and then fight with. They'll know that there are different ores and plants that they'll have to encounter and deal with and to build up their arsenal. But the main thing that they need to understand is that in this private beta, they get an extra special chance to play as Arlen, our main character, and that won't be the case when the game goes live. Once they play live, they will be a stock standard Valain Ranger that has just crashed and is trying to help their team get to what they need to do. So for the people that do get into the private beta, they get an extra special treat.
Fantastic. So what we're looking at right here then, this is Arlen, is what you're saying. And when they get to play the actual game, they will be able to select from a male or female ranger. And folks have seen some of those leaks on Illuvium Showcase.
Yeah, they'll get to pick their own character. While we're in the public beta, there are still going to be some features that aren't available, such as character customization and a few more things that relate to that, but they'll at least be able to select whether or not they're a male or a female ranger. And from there, they'll get to play, but over time, they'll be able to do a character customizer that'll allow them to get just the perfect, unique ranger for them. There are some very exciting things that we have planned that we haven't announced that I think everyone in the Web3 space will find incredibly cool.
Very cool. So on the design side, Ben, I want to kick it over to you, amigo. This is an entire game within the Illuvium Interoperable game suite, let's call it, all of our interoperable blockchain games. So everyone understands, how does Illuvium Overworld relate to Illuvium Arena and Illuvium Zero from a design standpoint? How does this game matter to our other game experiences in a nutshell?
Yeah, so Illuvium Overworld is the heart of the sort of asset generation for the other games. So Illuvium Zero is, in a similar way, it generates the fuel which is then used in our future games and primarily right now in Illuvium Overworld. Illuvium Overworld are where the actual game objects come in. Your weapons, your armor, your actual Illuvials, everything that you're going to be owning as an NFT is coming into existence as a result of gameplay in the Overworld. And that, for me, is one of our big success points, is that pretty much everything that you own in our game, every single NFT, you're not buying it from us. You're not buying it from sort of a whitelist or a mint or anything like that. Everything that is going to exist in our game is a result of player action. Somebody's gone out there and mined. Someone's gone out there and battled. Someone out there has put time, effort, love into the NFTs that you will be using.
Very good. So people can't just buy, well, obviously they can go to the Illuvidex and purchase NFTs, of course, to accelerate in some ways. But somebody actually had to go out there in the overworld and go get it. That's cool. I like
Exactly.
that. That totally makes sense. All right, Andrei, can you walk us through some of the basic mechanics here that people need to understand as they get into Illuvium Overworld? I've been showing some people the traversal mechanics in the game. Can you walk us through, for people that are new to the overworld and never seen any of our showcase episodes, what are the different traversal mechanics and how can they be upgraded so everybody can have context on that?
Sure. So the way we designed the overworld was so all players can get a chance to play, and it's really easy to get into, but it's hard to master. That was one of our design pillars, so to speak. The basics features that you have is just like moving around with the character. Then we have the
WASD for basic movement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. WSD for basic movement, like any other game, like we have jumping, only that in our game jumping happens all underground and also in the air. If I remember correctly, this was Aaron's idea, and it's like work like a trampoline in the air. Basically spawn a trampoline under you, and based on your velocity you jump higher. Like the harder you fall, the higher you jump, so it's basically like a risk versus reward trade-off. Underground we have sprinting, which is again mainstay mechanic in all open world games. And in the air you have the jetpack, if you can show it for a couple of seconds.
Absolutely.
Basically you can combine the jetpack for horizontal movement with the jump for vertical movement and a bit of direction, and you can get some really cool moves if you combine these two. All of them are using the energy. If you can jump one more time, you see you have a bar.
The bar at the
of
bottom,
screen.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So you can't just spam everything and just you need to be a bit tactical about how you use your energy and what you do with it. And all of these are good, like the boots are upgradable. Like the better boots you have, the longer you jump, the better jetpack, the more it lasts, and the
Well,
faster
let's go take a look at my inventory, because you're the lead on Overworld, so you hooked me up with a bunch of resources. So I have significantly upgraded my ability to traverse the Overworld through my equipment. So let's start with the helmet and the visor, and we'll demonstrate this in Crimson Waste. But I've got the basic visor, the advanced visor, and the supreme visor. So as I'm crafting and forging, and we'll show everybody this later, better visors. What the heck does the visor do, and how does it benefit me as a player as I'm trying to capture more powerful Illuvials?
Like basically all of these tools help you navigate the world faster. So the faster you are in the world, the more Illuvials and the faster you get resources. The visor specifically grants you nether sight. It's an ability which in our game lets you see only the objects that are relevant. So basically when you activate it, you only see the Illuvial wakes, the minables and the harvestables, and any other like interactable objects we'll have in the future. Basically, since we have such a lush environment and it's so beautiful, we need a way to quickly show you what are the objects that are interactable with you. Since like the degree of fidelity we have for the plant, it's almost like you can interact with all of them.
That makes sense. And so we'll do that once we enter Crimson Waste. You hit Q, it looks sort of like this. Everything turns gray, and then the items of interest appear in a different color. You can also upgrade your other equipment as well, right? So the jetpack, for example, if I get advanced jetpack versus basic, for example, or supreme, how is that helping me? Is that just giving me better jumps, better jetpack or more
Yeah.
jetpack usage?
The jetpack itself will give you a greater first impulse, so your starting speed will be a lot greater.
I see.
And then also the overall speed is greater, so you'll be able to travel longer distances. So basically, if we can have a level in which there's a big gap, you can only go over if you have the stage 3 jetpack.
I see. So some of the obstacles then within the regions, the higher stage regions, that players need to overcome will require them to have even better equipment for them to even like get over that jump, get over that arch, get up to that location where they're collecting resources and entering encounters.
Yeah, it's not about the stage of the region.
Okay,
it's
it's not.
It's not about the stage. The stage basically affects the loot that you get there. It's about the level design in each region. Like each region would be a lot different than the other. So in one region, for example, in Crimson Waste, the boots are very good. In another one, like the jetpack will be very good. And
I
think
see.
there Ben or Aaron can discuss more about the different regions we'll have and their specificities.
Got it. Very good. Thank you for that overview on the traversal. What I would like to do, and we can come back here to Sanctum Mesa, where there's a locker storage. We'll show that to you later, so stick around for the rest of the stream. And there's also a forge, where you can forge, craft, and upgrade items. Guys, I'd like to take everybody straight into Crimson Waste, if you're cool with that, and show them the actual, maybe the most exciting bit, which is trying to capture rarer and more powerful Illuvials. Sound good?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. So there is a map, obviously. So what you can do is there's a teleport function in the game. And so I'm going to teleport back to the obelisk. And then that will allow me to more quickly travel to Crimson Waste. And Crimson Waste is the only available region in the beta right now. I'm pressing E to interact, going to Crimson Waste. Ben, it's your call, buddy. You want me to do stage 0, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3? What do you want me to do?
I would depend on what Illuvials you have right now. Like how's your roster looking?
My roster's looking pretty terrible, so we should probably do stage 1, I suppose, based on that. That's a good point. Okay,
Let's have a look at it. Let's see what you do.
Really quick, before we go into stage 1, Ben, what is the difference between stage 0, 1, 2, and 3? And aren't there different access requirements with fuel cost to enter each of these stages?
Yeah. So additional stages, generally speaking, increase the average value of the loot. And in our case, that means the higher tier stuff. That applies throughout everything in the game. And as a result, we charge additional fuel to go into the higher stage regions. Now, based on this sort of the fuel to reward breakdown, they're actually mostly equal, right? Because the cost goes up. But from a game time versus reward perspective, the higher stage is usually better.
Understood.
But obviously,
I think
difficulty
the
goes
best
up a
way
lot
to
as a
just-
result.
I think the best way to think about it is imagine that there's different packs of cards that you could purchase, and the more expensive packs of cards will have a higher average sort of value to them, more rare things that are inside them. But instead of it being just a boring pack of cards that you actually get to interact with the world and extract them out through gameplay.
That's awesome. And this is one heck of a pack of card opening when you get in here. And just to be clear, stage 0 is free to enter. So this is a free to play game. You can come in here, you can enjoy all this gameplay free, but obviously you can acquire fuel through Illuvium 0. Land. You've heard of Illuvium Land and Illuvium 0 game. You can build a virtual industrial complex there and generate fuel on that land, and that fuel is used to enter higher stages. So the more fuel you're acquiring from your land then, Aaron, is what you're telling me, then you could take larger sums of fuel and go do stage 3s here in the overworld and get a better investment to reward ratio. Is that fair to say?
You probably want to start off with the free to play, even if you're the richest person on the planet, because there is a progression system inside of the game. If you start off going into stage 3 travel, then you're going to get absolutely wrecked and it won't be worth your time. You got to build up, and that gives everybody a chance to be progressing at the same rate. the other thing to remember is that you're infusing this obelisk with these kryptons. So even though I won't discuss the lore elements of it, maybe people could speculate as to why it's the case that simply spending more fuel might change the way that the composition of an entire region looks.
Wow.
It's definitely a big part of the overall lore of the game, but they won't really understand it until probably the end of set 1, which is scheduled to be, I guess, about a year away from now. So there's a lot of time for them to speculate on what exactly these obelisks are.
Dude, you're a psycho, Aaron. I don't know how you keep this such a secret in terms of the lore. I mean, it's going to make it so interesting when people figure this out. So I'm glad that you're doing that. So right when you enter Crimson Waste, you're not safe anymore. This isn't home. There are dangers out there. And this green stuff down here is not Jello. It is acid, correct me if I'm wrong, and you will die. And whenever you land in a hazard, obviously it teleports you back to the obelisk and you have to start over again.
Yeah, the it in that case is specifically your polymorphic companion drone. So it's registering that your suit has reached a critical level and your drone is pulling you out so that you don't actually die.
There you go. I just learned something today. So, Andrei, where should I go? What should I do? I mean, you mentioned that visor earlier. I have a Supreme visor on. When I hit Q, I can now see items of interest all over the place in front of me that I could go after. So what should I go after right now? Which direction should I go?
Well, I think first of all, we should open up the map so everybody can see
Sure.
how the region looks.
You got
And
it.
zoom out a bit. Yeah, so basically here on the map, this will help you guide throughout the region. There's a little space around you, as you see. That's the fog of war. That helps you see where you've been in the region since you go multiple times. And one feature that is especially helpful to use is the heat map, if you can show that for a bit.
Absolutely. H for heat map.
Yeah, and zoom out. So basically, while you're using this, you can see a rough shape where the items that you need are located. And we also have drone upgrades, which you can use and will make this a lot better. Like it will just zone on the areas where we have a lot more loot. So looking at the map right now, I think you should place a marker onto the top, towards the top. Just go to the top. Yeah, place a marker there.
Right about here?
Yeah, right about here.
Okay.
And you can close the map. And you'll see the marker on your compass at the top.
Ah, I see the purple down pointing marker.
No. Yeah, that's you. And go left. There's a white marker. That's the marker you just placed.
There's the white marker. Got it.
Yeah, just go into that direction. So using these tools, you'll be able to navigate throughout the region. And the more you operate you use drone upgrades to improve your heat map, it will be a lot easier for players to go into a region and just select what they need.
Very cool. So that's the drone that's part of the drone upgrade aspect of this. So it's not just about your equipment as a ranger, it's also about upgrading your drone.
Yeah. If I'm not wrong, you're using stage 3 equipment right now.
I am using stage 3 equipment right now. You are correct. Now here we are at some resources in the overworld. And I can press E to interact, but there are two options here. So why would I want to scan this? Wouldn't I just want to extract it and, yum, grab my resources for my run? Why would I want to scan?
It depends. Primarily, scanning is a lot cheaper than extracting. And as a result, it depends on your playstyle and what you're specializing in. So over time, what we expect is some resources to be of a lot lower value than others. And players, as a result, when they're targeting, because we're an economy-focused game, there's a free market, everything's tradable, players will be specializing not necessarily in what they need in the specific short term, but instead in what gets them the most value in a run. And as a result, scanning allows you to just ensure that you don't waste your time or your energy extracting stuff that you don't need.
I see. So it gives you a sneak preview of what's inside, and then you can decide whether you want to extract from there. Now, in this case, I can see some of what's inside the ore deposit, but I can't see, there's some unknown items here. So is this also a part of the drone upgrade mechanic, where if I upgrade my drone, I can potentially see more, or no?
Yes. So if you were to upgrade your drones and focus instead on scanning power, you would be seeing what was in those.
Got it. Very cool. All right, so I'm going to close this out, and then I am going to extract just so people can see what that's like. So holding to extract, and now I'm going through that process.
If I can interject here, like
Got it.
scanning is especially important for encounters. Like basically right now for mining, you can't fail the action, right? Like you extract X number of times and you get the loot. But if you go into an encounter without scanning before, there might be Illuvials that are a lot powerful than your deck, and you'll
I'll
get
use
wrecked, and you lose the energy, which is a lot more than mining. Like basically it will be 600 for going into an encounter.
Got
their
it.
scanning
So
is even more
looks
important
good.
than for mining.
extraction is much lower risk than going into an encounter. Got it. So, but you would still want to be conservative and make sure you understand what's inside in either case. But with an encounter, it makes more sense. Okay, I'm going to continue down this corridor here, and there's some moving stuff I can see with my nether sight.
What could that be?
What could that be, my friends? I'm going to try to head that direction.
While you're moving, regarding those deposits, there's a few features that are not in the game yet, that are yet to be implemented, such as deformation of those specific deposits. So you'll see when they're empty. At the moment, they'll just stay in the region. So there's little quality of life improvements that we've yet to make as we focus more on the main mechanics. But over time, you'll see that things get to what we consider to be an acceptable level of polish.
Understood. Guys, I just came up above the surface. It was nice and calm down there with beautiful looking plants and life, and now I'm above the surface, and this is not as friendly. What the heck is going on here?
This is a giant, everlasting storm that rages in this region. And as part of the difficulty of this region is that there is definitely an element of needing netherite to be able to navigate around, and possibly just having some experience as far as knowing where things are. When you go into this region for the first time, it's meant to be slightly discombobulating, and people will notice that there's a lot of winding tunnels beneath that are difficult to navigate. There's some tricky things to navigate on the surface with the storm that's raging on above you. And yeah, each region will take just a little bit of a different expertise to be able to, operate at the fullest.
Got it.
I'll take it.
That totally makes sense. So I just navigated above the surface, and I agree with you. My first time in the overworld, I got really disoriented out there because you can't see. We designed it to where you can't see. So using the map, using netherite, and using markers can help you better traverse that obstacle, essentially, that's obstructing your vision on the surface.
That's correct, yeah. Someone in chat's asking what nether is, and I will say that a infrared visor picks up on specific types of electromagnetic radiation, and possibly netherite picks up on something slightly different, and leave it there.
So I have a
Such a
question right now.
tease. Such a tease. Hit me with a question.
People have been asking questions in the chat, and I've been noting them down since the beginning. Are we
Please answer
answering
their
them at the
questions
end?
live. Absolutely. Thank you to everybody who's watching live. Go right ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna go, and then we'll decide who answer.
Okay.
So the first question, in order, like, does this require the same hardware specs as Arena Beta? Basically, we do require the same hardware specs, but the overworld, as you can see, as you look at it, it will be a bit more challenging for your hardware than the arena. So you might have to turn down the notch on the graphic settings depending on what you have. So if you can press escape right now and go to the graphics tab, you'll see there's a lot of graphics option you can tweak around and make your experience better.
Exactly. Yeah, so for me, you know, I have DLSS on auto, and I've got a 3080 graphics card because it gives me smooth, crazy high bit rates. So everyone's going to need to tweak their settings based on their setup.
Yes, and if they're on Mac, it's still in an experimental stage. There's a wide range of different graphics capabilities on Mac at the moment. So what we're releasing next week will definitely be experimental. People on Mac should expect to get some crashes. That's things that we know that we're working on fixing. But if you happen to have the Mac Studio with 128 gigabytes of graphics RAM, you should be okay.
Are you saying you have one of those? Is that the trash can computer, or is that a different one?
It's the new one, the little the fat old Mac Mini type style, but in the new Mac Studio. It's not perfect at the moment, and we haven't put very much focus at all on it, but it's still there so that people can play around. They just need to understand if you're on a Mac exclusively, your experience might not be as good as the Windows one for now, and we'll do our best to get them to parity as soon as we can.
Understood.
Yeah. Also keep in mind, like Unreal Engine is currently in the process of supporting native silicon on Apple. So once we update to the next engine version, maybe not 5.1, but maybe 5.2, the performance should be a lot better, as we don't go through Rosetta anymore.
Got it. Hey everybody, I just shot this thing that was floating in the air. I saw it on my Nether site. I shot it with my gun. What is it? Help me understand what this is, Ben.
So, the thing that was moving around was an alluvial wake. Now, I'll just quickly clarify. Aaron, can I explain what an alluvial wake is?
Absolutely, yes. You can tell them what a singularity is as well. That's no problems.
Thank you. So, alluvial wake is the echoes of an alluvial moving around. Longer term, there are talks, plans, discussions, musings as to getting them into the overworld itself and having them be there. But for the time being, this is their impact on the world right now. After you've successfully shot it with the dimensional tether gun, you will watch the wake transform into a singularity. This is then where you can interact with it and gain some information if you were to scan. So if you could please scan for us, Andrew.
You got it, man. And so you mentioned earlier, you want to scan these encounters more often just to see if you're outmatched and to see what alluvials are inside.
Yeah, particularly it depends on your playstyle. You won't always have to do it. The whole point of it is it's very subjective, right? And it depends on your strategy. We want players to play in different ways. So in this case, if you valued TNT or Tato-P, this is a very simple battle. There's only one alluvial inside of it. It should be a straightforward one.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not too intimidated by this based on the alluvials I have. So I'm cool getting in here and entering the fight. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
But
one easy way to explain it is
if
you're an Aaron, you'll probably scan a lot and plan things out. If you're a Kieran, you'll go ham and just collect the
and that,
I guess
if you're a Kieran, you'll rush into stage 3 with no
with no alluvials and get wrecked.
I think it also, like, scanning will be a lot more important at the beginning because players won't have such a good deck, and you'll tend to scan more just to maximize your alluvial that you get. Once you get a better deck, you'll be able to beat more encounters. But you have
It's not specifically advantageous to scan. It's just about play styles. We've designed the math of everything so that there's multiple correct ways to play, and it's more about what sort of a fun you want to get out of it. I'm more of a planner. Other people will be more about, action.
Understood. So whether you planned or whether you jumped in here immediately to this encounter, there is a new mechanic in here that folks that played Arena are not familiar with. We've got this Illuvium purple bar at the top of the screen. So Andrei, what does this bar do? What does it mean? And why does it matter to me as a player versus if I'm used to just playing arena and just defeating the other team?
This is called dimensional stability, and if I remember correctly, it's the brainchild of Ben. So basically, we have this here. So if you have a very good deck and you go inside, you will be able to destroy anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
The dimensional stability prevents that. Like basically, you have to match the opponents, like the other Illuvials, in terminal strength, so their dimensional stability remains higher. And based on that, you'll be able to have more tries of capturing the Illuvials. You can for sure, for example, use your best Illuvials here. Like try placing your best Illuvial, your
All right.
tier 4 stage, place them,
Okay.
and you'll see how dimensional stability decreases.
Oh wow, that tanked my dimensional stability,
Yeah.
and whoa, look at the holy moly.
So basically, that tells you your team is a lot stronger than the other team. So in this case, you will only get one chance to capture the other Illuvial. So you have to think tactically about this. So let's remove it and let's try with another unit which has less strength than this one.
Yeah, okay.
Lesser.
We do not want the dimensional stability bar at the top to go down to 1. That is like worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it would technically go well into the negatives, but we always give you one opportunity to capture.
So the lower it goes,
negative 500.
The lower the bar goes, the lower the probability is that you will successfully capture an Illuvial if you win the battle, correct?
No, it's not about probabilities.
Oh, okay.
It's about how many opportunities you have.
I see.
So basically, it's a mechanic, so you can't overpower your way. Like you can't buy the best NFTs, the best Illuvials, come here and get more loot. You have to also think about it tactically, and you need some skill in order to get the best Illuvials.
Got it.
The best out of encounters.
So by placing my lower cost, lower power Illuvial on the board, I only took away a little bit of dimensional instability, and that will give me what you're saying, more chances in order to capture.
More tries, basically.
More
like
tries.
Each time you try to capture an Illuvial, if you don't capture it, and even if you do capture it, like the Illuvial stability, like the dimensional stability will decrease. In this case, it's not the best example as there's only one Illuvial there. But once you have 3 or 4 Illuvials, this will make you decide which Illuvial is most important for you, and you'll try to capture that in order to still have stability to get it.
Understood.
I'll throw in a very small lore leak here. Whenever you play in arena, and technically encounter mode is effectively arena, you're not playing as you.
What?
You're actually playing as your companion drone, right? Your companion drone is the thing that is deploying these, and your companion drone is keeping this little pocket dimension stable. So
I see.
If you start to deploy incredibly powerful things, you're distracting your drone from being able to do what it wants to do, which is to keep it stable. So that's where that interplay comes in. He's got 2 out on the screen. He can't handle it. And you'll see that this encounter that you're inside is suddenly incredibly unstable, meaning that it's going to collapse really quickly. And if you try to do something like capture an Illuvial, it's going to overload your drone. It won't be able to keep things stable, and yeah, you'll be kicked out.
I have to say, this animation for dimensional instability is stupid beautiful. It's so pretty, man. The team just absolutely killed it with that animation. Okay, we are not going to obviously start this battle with that much dimensional instability, but thank you for helping illustrate that. Let's go ahead and just cover a couple quick other mechanics here in while we're on the battle board. So we do have, I know the name's been shifting around a little bit, weapons and armor, all under the category of armaments, if I got that correct there, Aaron, where you can select different weapons, which can synergize with your team, and your ranger can be equipped with those, and those can be forged. And then, of course, you can get different armor as well. So this, when we get our weapons and armor and we forge it in Sanctum Mesa, that will allow us to basically better synergize our ranger with whatever Illuvials we're deploying. Is that fair to say?
That's right. Yeah. The whole point of this is that your inventory, which is the storage inside of your drone, is effectively your deck. So when you play survival mode, you're building a custom deck, whereas here it's what you're taking out into the world with you, and that's it. You're stuck with what your choices are, and you have to strategically travel through the region, and through all of the different regions you'll have to employ different strategies in order to maximize.
That makes sense. And the last thing I want to show people is the and I know this is an arena specific thing, but it's here in the overworld. We have augments, and I've got 3 different augments. This one gives energy resistance. This one gives critical chance. This one gets thorns. So why would I want to use augments? How is that going to benefit my team? Ben, can you help me understand that?
So yes, so augments are very specific things that do very specific things, and they have a gameplay effect, and they are designed such that they're incredibly powerful if you use them well. If you use them well, they are fantastic in terms of power for cost, but if you use them badly, then they become really inefficient, right? So in this situation, you probably don't want to use them because there's not much value in it. But generally speaking, one of the best expressions of skill in our auto battle game is using our augments well and working out what will get you the most value.
That makes sense. I'm just going to deploy one, not that it makes sense, but just to show people. You drag and drop it on your Illuvial. Is it not working? Retro. Not working. Oh well.
Can you go from the top? Might have a small targeting bug.
Targeting bug. There it is. Yeah. All right, I had to go from the top. I'm like one of the only people that extreme zoom ins on stuff. Okay, so once I put that augment on my Illuvial, I can then select 2 stacks to further customize. So there's some deep strategy involved here. So let's say I wanted my TAT-OP to be more, let's say, durable. I could do max health, and I could, let's see here, and give some more Omega power, let's say, if I wanted him to use his Omega. I'm not saying that makes sense strategically, but notice how that did cost mastery points, and that did decrease the dimensional instability. So this does come at a cost, and you always need to be thinking about efficiency. Anything, guys, what else you want me to say here before we get started with this battle and attempting a capture?
We do have a question. How much does dimensional stability does a capture attempt cost? If someone wants to take that.
You can watch with gameplay here.
Okay, let's do the gameplay and then we answer the question.
Okay, sounds good.
Here
we go. I'm going to hit the start button to start the battle. Obviously, I'm going to win.
Let's hope so. But your ranger died, so minus 10 points for that.
Minus style points. Now I have 3 of these thingies at the bottom of the screen. Andrei, what are these?
These are shards, which basically you have to mine them and then cure them. And once you get these cure shards, they are used to imprint Illuvials into them. So basically, if we can think in terms of Pokemon, they're like the Pokeballs.
Got it. So and each one of them has a capture power associated with it here. So that kind of helps you understand. Let's say you're going after a big boy Illuvial that is more powerful. You'd want to use a shard that has a higher capture power, correct?
Yes.
That's right.
Got it. So just for fun, I'm going to use this highest capture power option that I have right here, the Resplendent Shard Fragment, which can capture tier 5 or lesser Illuvials. Drag and drop. Sometimes, guys, when you go into these encounters, you'll have multiple Illuvial selections. We only have 1 Illuvial to choose from, but sometimes there's multiple. Drag and drop, and then confirm. Guys, fingers crossed. Do you think we're going to get it? Prediction time. Aaron, are we going to get it? Yes or no?
I'd say you have approximately a 96.8% chance.
Because he literally has looked at the spreadsheet.
I say you don't capture it. I say you don't capture it. So if it happens to be in that 4%, it's gonna be amazing. So I say you don't capture it. I agree with Aaron, but I like, let's say you don't. I say you don't capture. Just I trust in that 4% chance.
I'm an optimist.
You want to be the guy who bets against the grain. Chat, let us know whether you think Yes, we're going to get this Illuvial. No, we're not going to get this Illuvial. Type it in the chat right now, and I'm going to hit confirm. Let's go.
I trust in my 4% chance. Come on, 4%.
Come on, 4%.
Oh, you already passed one stage? Oh no. This is not looking good for my 4% chance.
Uh-oh.
Come on, 4%.
Yeah, we did it.
You got him.
There it is. And you captured an Illuvial, my friends. Now, this Illuvial gets added to our deck, right? So now that I've captured this Illuvial, in which ways can I use the Illuvial? Within more of these encounters, within the arena? What am I doing with this Illuvial now that I have it? Andrei.
You can't use it right now. Like when we'll have everything connected, and this will actually be an NFT. Like will be some time while you wait for the NFT to be created. So while in a region, you'll only be able to use the equipment that you have and the deck you selected before going into a region.
Mm-hmm.
But once you go back to Sam Mesa, the Illuvial is yours, and you can either get it into a deck to use it for the next time, or store it there until you get more Illuvials, and you can fuse them together to get the next stage.
Okay.
Andrei is, of course, giving the mechanical reason.
Yeah.
They have to be cleansed. It's not a matter of there's a blockchain with a time on there. It's a matter of in the overworld, these things come with a little bit of danger to them, and you need to have them quarantined for a while before they're usable.
There you go. A little bit of lore for you. Aaron's dropping.
Aaron is the lore master.
Yeah, we're so hesitant to say anything about lore because Aaron will terminate us if we do. All right, there we go. We got an Illuvial. And then, hold on, everything appeared to collapse there. So everything's collapsed. I guess our drone is no longer keeping that instance open or keeping it stable for us, correct?
That's right, yeah. That was too much. So if you have a large battle, maybe there's 8 Illuvials there, and you start capturing, maybe when you hit 3 or 4, you're not going to be able to capture everything. Eventually it'll collapse. So you have to make choices about what it is that you want to capture. Do you want to have 3 attempts at a ram fire, or do you want to have a guaranteed capture of some other thing that is of lower value? It's up to you.
Understood. That makes sense.
And we have a few questions that we can answer. So the first one will be the one that I said before. How does the dimensional instability decrease when you capture an Illuvial? By how much?
Ooh, you guys can tell this is live. My antivirus was trying to protect me during the stream. Not recorded footage. Go ahead and answer that question.
What was the question?
By how much does the dimensional stability decrease when you try to capture an Illuvial?
At the moment, I'd say for this sort of thing, the best answer to give is we have not spent a large amount of time on the balance of this. Good. And the economy is going to depend on what we do. So part of the beta for next week that people will get their hands on is we want to see how fast people progress. We want to see where they're able to maximize things, where they're able to hack things, that sort of stuff. And so it's not really very valuable to talk about how much it will be now, because within 2 or 3 patches, it could be significantly less or significantly more. But if you've done a pretty decent job of getting your team to a particular level where you're right on the border of losing, but you still win, you should be able to get at least a couple capture attempts, maybe 3.
Got it.
Okay. Next question. If you use a higher powered shard, do you have a higher capture chance? I can say yes to that. It's a simple question. There are 2 questions. And the next one, this is for Ben. How many Illuvials can I take with me in the deck in the overworld?
It varies depending on your drone upgrades. I believe by default it's 5, and you can increase that significantly with drone upgrades.
I'll take it.
Got it. So as I'm doing these runs, and as players are doing these runs here in the overworld, it seems like the kind of meta game here is to be as efficient as possible to collect the things that you're trying to collect, so that you can do more runs, you can do more upgrades, and you can kind of move up in progression as fast as possible. Now, obviously, people can take their time and they can enjoy the sights and they can, you know, get into the lore and they can enjoy the feel of the world. But really, it's all about efficiency. Your equipment helps you traverse faster. Your Illuvials give you more options to more efficiently win battles. It's just like it seems like it's an endless progression for efficiency to clear regions and to upgrade and progress. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think that one of the important things to remember is that time is no longer the main resource cost that the player is putting into the game. It's certainly a part of it, but because we're a blockchain game with things being sort of real value, there is a monetary element for traveling into the regions. And so we want to give people the ability to maximize that. But at the same time, because time is no longer the most important thing, we're able to let you spend, you know, an hour, 2 hours in the region just casually going through and deciding the way that you want to play the game. You don't have to go through and run it like it's a speed run. It's completely up to you to decide the way that you want to play. If you want to chill, take some screenshots, look at some ridiculously beautiful plants that are 19,000 kilometers high, then you can do that.
And also rocks. Don't forget the rocks, Aaron.
Yeah, you can look at all of those flex rocks, and yeah, there's a lot of interesting parts. Even things like this particular plant that you're looking at here will appear in Illuvium 0, and when you see it in Illuvium 0, it'll appear microscopic, and that will give you a sense of scale of your industrial complex in Illuvium 0. So there's connections between all of these things. I can't go into all of the details around plants, but there are very significant upgrades planned for every type of plants. We sort of break them down into a few categories. There's the smaller cosmetic ones that are meant to just look pretty and have some interesting features. Then there are the hero ones, like the one that you're standing on, which have some level of interactable physics, and you know, you can use them as platforms, you can do all sorts of things with them. And then there's the harvestable plants, and I guess one of the differences there is those harvestable ones have specific loot that is contained inside that can be incredibly valuable, and it's a big part of building out your deck and choosing your play style. And those harvestable ones, when you see them with nether sites, I guess it'll pique your curiosity as to why are those plants showing up on my nether site and the other ones aren't.
Got it. And earlier we placed the marker on the map here, and here it is right in front of us. It's a giant line going into the sky so that you have a visual indicator in front of you so you don't have to constantly go back to the map. So guys, I want to make sure that we cover the progression aspect of Overworld, because believe it or not, we're coming up on having spent an hour already going over everything. So I'm going to teleport back to the obelisk, and we're going to return to Sanctum Mesa so that everybody can see the forge, they can see the leaderboard, and they can see your locker to understand. Let's assume we got everything we wanted from Crimson Waste here on this run. Then we can travel back to Sanctum Mesa, and we can go through the upgrade and progression process.
While you're teleporting, we have like 3 questions about the same thing.
Absolutely.
People are asking about the energy you use to travel. Like, is it limited per day? Can you buy as much as you want? Does it get refreshed daily, or things like that? We have quite a few questions about that, about crypto.
Oh, can you press M here, Andrew, and then go over? If you move over to the hub area on the map, so drag to the left, and then you can click the teleport beacon in the middle there. Just a teleport there.
In the beta, because it's not, you know, real resources that you're getting, we give you a certain amount of energy per day that we feel would be a reasonable amount for someone to play. We're not going to give you a whole bunch, because the point isn't to have you guys progress at a rapid pace and, you know, clear through the region and get all of the loot in a matter of days. We want it to be something that takes a decent amount of progression. Once you go live, it's a free market. There's kryptons that will be available through our balanced pool. That pool will be something that has both ETH and kryptons and the other fuels in there, and you'll be able to swap some ETH for kryptons. We have some lore related elements that I've spoken a few times about them. Basically, kryptons are a type of ETH, and ETH is effectively a type of energy, and it's just used slightly differently. Different things in the game require different isomers of ETH to be able to operate, and that's what we refer to when we talk about Solons, Hyperions, and Kryptons.
Makes sense. So ETH isn't just some, crypto token in the context of Illuvium. It's a part of the lore of the Illuvium universe, and it has functionality within the universe. Guys, I'm going to go into locker storage really quick here. There's so much that people can navigate. So Andrei, can you help me understand what is the utility of the locker versus your inventory?
So basically, the player inventory has a limited space. You can only take so many overworld equipment pieces or auto battle equipment pieces with you in the region. And you also have a limited amount of Illuvials. This forces you to make strategic decisions about what you take with you. But of course, while you go into a region, you can get a lot of stuff there, and that's why the locker storage exists. Basically, this is infinite storage for you. Like, all that you have will automatically go here. If you capture something, if you capture an Illuvial in the region, if you mine something, if you extract something from a plant, this will go automatically here while you return to a region. Also, when you craft something, this will get filled in with that item. And basically, this is your whole collection. You can browse it, you can see what you have, you can see your Illuvials, you can go through them and you can look at them. You can rotate in the UI. If you go back to the Illuvials, you can rotate and see how they look. See, you can admire your Illuvials. You can check the resources you have that you need to use to craft other items and everything. Basically, it should be a very simple way for you to find what you need and to check your current year.
Understood. And the amount of resources I have is just because I got cheat codes from the developers. So just just keep that in mind. You won't be starting in the overworld with all of this. And so This is the locker storage. It's basically inventory management, able to see everything you have at a glance. So that's pretty straightforward. It's where the forge is where things get truly interesting and the progression begins to unlock. So as we go into the forge, there are all of those progression items that we mentioned before that folks can put together, and they're going to need resources that they collect out in each region in order to create them here at the forge. So new players that are jumping into, let's say, Overworld Beta, Ben, what kinds of things would you recommend that they look at early on as good, solid investments to forge here to help them along their way as a beta tester?
So probably, I don't really want to spoil too much because part of that is what the player will explore and understand. But I think their initial challenge will be, how do I start winning battles and capturing Illuvials?
I see.
So I would probably say, look towards stuff that you can equip to your ranger. So I think your first couple of runs will be in a stage 0 region, which you can run for free unlimitedly. And you'll probably be focusing on mining in order to build yourself up some weapons and collect some shards.
Can I disagree with Ben?
Perfect. That's what I was hoping for. I was hoping somebody would come. Yeah. So what's the disagreement?
The most important thing is the last tab, and those are the skins.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
like,
boy.
I know, like what Ben said has meaning, but the most important thing is the skins.
That's the nicest diss ever. What you said has meaning, but you're wrong. Cool. And so you can craft those skins.
Just look at the first Mozart skin. Like, it's the 4th one in the list.
Here, Blooming Burst.
Just look how cool is that. Just imagine going through a region and having Mozart follow you, and he looks like that.
Boom Splosion.
I like the first one the best out of all of them.
Okay, skin equals win. Guys, this is directly from our Overworld lead. So He knows. Okay, this is facts right here.
Yeah, and there's the reason behind it. If you get skins, the game is personalized for you. You like it better, and you're more efficient.
Very good. I love that. Okay, there's
That's
also
how he convinces his wife to let him spend his money on skins.
It should be mentioned that skins were not planned to be part of this open beta, and it was something. Oh, sorry, this closed beta. It was something that they decided to put in less than a week, I believe, because they wanted it in so badly. So, yeah, when we're getting to the point where a lot of the plumbing of the game is coming together, our infrastructure is looking incredible, and there's still going to be teething problems, but our ability to implement things into the game just gets faster every week.
makes sense. Okay, thank you for sharing that.
Can you equip one of the skins? Just to have that.
He literally can't exist without them.
Yeah, I need the
Yeah,
skin. I can't continue the life. It's the small button at the there's no skin where it says no skin.
Ah,
Yeah.
right here.
We need to improve that a bit, the UI for it. Make it larger.
Ooh, skin.
Twice as large as the inventory.
Yes. Very good. So this is Aquarian Cascade Ranger right here. Very good. Very good. And over here, there's some drone. No.
Yeah. No skin first and then the drone upgrade.
I see.
Yeah, Mozart skin.
Here we go. There's the Mozart skin. Perfect. So obviously the UI needs some work here, guys. There we go. Blooming Burt's Mozart. There it is. So skin equals win, everyone. You heard it here first. If you want to climb the leaderboard, this is the way to do it. Very good. So customization, so incredibly important. And we have so many exciting skins for all of you guys to check out. Now, it's very important that everybody understand you're trying to capture, you're trying to upgrade, trying to get those more powerful Illuvials, right? So here within Illuvials, I do have the opportunity to do a fusion. So Aaron, what is a fusion and why does that matter? For me to fuse these multiple Illuvials here, what happens and why should I be doing this?
So one of the things that we looked at early on is ways that we can make sure that the economy doesn't get out of control. There's other ways of doing things such as breeding or evolutions and things like that. We wanted the game to feel specifically like things were very scarce. There's going to be lots of players going into the world and capturing things, and we needed there to be some natural mechanisms to tamp down on that. There's a bunch that we have available to us that are all just part of the free market, right? Once we set them, you guys are the ones that decide how expensive things will be. You decide how rare it is for you to see Atlas or something like that. But probably the main one is if you want to get different stages in a particular line, you'll need to fuse 3 of one together, and they'll need to be of a particular level before they can do that. In this closed beta, the levels are not really important, but you need to have multiple of something to make one of something else. And when you fuse it, functionally what's happening is you're burning those 3 and replacing it with 1. So it's got that deflationary aspect. The other thing that I think is really important to remember is when you look at these tier 0 Illuvials, these are all free and they just look absolutely godlike.
Yes, they do.
There is literally no game out there that has this level of quality for their free assets. Usually the purpose of the free stuff is it looks a bit rubbish so that you can want to go and capture the really amazing stuff. We have some amazing things in the game that are unbelievably good in terms of their function, but artistically, everything has been made with love. Everything is specifically designed so that if you don't want to spend money on the game, that's fine. It'll be a little bit more difficult for you to progress, and it'll be a little bit more difficult for you to fight, especially in things like the Leviathan arena. I'm sure that almost all of our games will have some mode where having really expensive stuff is going to help, but every game is also going to have a mode where that's not the case and it's not pay to win. And for the arena game, that's the Ascendant mode, which we're currently building out. And everything in that game is designed so that even if you don't have a very expensive deck, you should still be able to beat people through things like strategy and efficiency and outplaying your opponents. but yeah, it's important for people to understand that we, as a development studio, are very much trying to make sure that every customer who plays our game gets an amazing experience, not just the ones that are paying for it.
Man, thank you for sharing that. I love that. That's one of the reasons why I joined the DAO, is because of that type of thinking when it comes to, we want to provide great experiences first. Are you guys cool with me fusing here? I want to show one of these fusions you referred to. We've got 3 Tatopes, and that's going to fuse into a TNT. And you can do multiple fusions at a time, by the way, to save time. So here's our fusion. Let's go. So you're saying it's burning the Tatopes, and so I love the deflationary aspect.
I will not say what's happening from a lore perspective.
I see.
When I say burning, I mean that's a functional aspect
Yes.
of the blockchain.
Right.
Those 3 NFTs are now burnt, and they're replaced with a new NFT. There is a thing that's happening with them. I'm just not going to talk about it now.
Don't talk about it then. And you can also deconstruct here in the Forge as well. I wanted to bring that up. When you deconstruct, it's providing you with, it appears in the cases I've seen, it pretty much is always giving you components. Is that fair, Andrei?
Yeah. Based on the type of gear that you deconstruct, you can either get a weapon component, a suit component, or an overall component. And you need these basically to craft higher tier gear. Basically, if you want a better jetpack, you need an overall component to do it. So you'll have to deconstruct your stage 1 in order to get the stage 2.
Understood.
Ben designed this, and I think it's brilliant. It's really clever way to allow people to branch off into new directions without it being, too confusing or too restrictive. It's a really perfect balance.
That's great. Guys, there's even more gemstones, shards, all sorts of other items to explore in the Forge. I don't want to go into all of them today because we are running short on time. I wanted to keep this limited to an hour. But people in chat are saying, what's up with the leaderboard? Show the leaderboard. So obviously, there are not people competing right this minute. So when we go look at the leaderboard, it's going to be, a placeholder. But I would love to help everyone understand.
Might have a surprise.
Oh, okay. All right.
Let's see.
Sneaky puffs are on here. So everybody's
a lot
just...
of sneaky puffs there.
So, I'm not sure who to ask this question. Maybe Andrei. What's going on with the leaderboard? And how do I climb to the top?
I think that's a question for Ben, and we have like quite a few or 4 questions. How does the leaderboard system currently work?
So the leaderboard is a temporary system, right? It's in place for the beta. We might keep it for the main release, but I doubt it. It's there primarily just to give a bit more fun, gamify this experience, and basically rewards players with points. Those points increase when you get something that's rarer, higher tier stuff, higher stage stuff.
So that's the score aspect. Okay.
Yeah, and it scales with the time as well. So basically, it will reward people who can speed run a region and find the best stuff. It's not a very serious system. It's just there for a bit of fun, a bit of interest during this beta.
Understood. Got it. Now, you said there were a few other questions from chat. I say, let's take those questions, and then we'll call it there. And we have plenty more information coming out soon about Illuvium Overworld. We've got an explainer video. We've got a tutorial video. We'll have further live streams. We'll have an article. We've got everything. But, of course, we wanted to make sure you guys could see everything for yourselves in gorgeous 2K. You want to bring up those questions, and then we'll call it.
Sure. Let's try to get them in order of how many there were. Like the highest question, asked question right now, and I think this is for Aaron. Will we have multiplayer in the overworld?
You will eventually have multiplayer in the overworld in a long time. It's actually not planned. It's not possible from a story perspective for a while yet, but there is a hybrid version, which I would call, I don't know, maybe the best way to describe it is single multiplayer. And that's something that we're planning for a later release. Probably we'll be able to get that in before we go into the open beta. But just like Arena, we've now updated Arena a few times, and we keep on adding new features. This is the first of our private betas for Overworld, and people need to understand that there are definitely things that we're holding back on. There are things that are not in this release. We want people to focus on that very core mechanic of going out into the world, capturing, and things like that. Yeah, for example, that is the Ascendant Arena, not fully built, but that's where Ascendant will be, where you just highlighted. And we just want to make sure that we're getting that core experience of the overworld, which Ben talked about being the place where you get stuff, right? Because it's the place where you get stuff, we need the stuff getting mechanics to be really clean, really fun, and we want them to hold up on their own. And there's a bunch of things that we have planned that are fun and interactive that will wrap around that and act like candy. But for now, we want to make sure that that opening a pack of cards experience is good enough for everyone. And it probably won't be in this beta, mostly because of, you know, some various things that we still need to get in there. But we're hoping that people can give us some really solid feedback and see which parts of it they enjoy. And from there, we can start to implement specific features that will flesh out everything, including lore and, you know, story elements, more interactivity, eventually single multiplayer, and then eventually actual multiplayer. And it'll just build over time, right? There's no point where I will say that Overworld will be finished. It will be a continuing expansion. Even once we get into open beta, even when we're no longer in a beta, there will be Overworld 2.0, 3.0. It's something that we plan to extend out for the next 10 years and keep on improving the experience. So this is just getting in on the ground floor, and a lot of you guys are getting to see things that no one else will. By the time we go live with the game, there'll be a whole bunch of new people that have never heard of Illuvium, never seen anything, and you guys will have a much more rich understanding. Maybe I've slipped up and given too many hints away.
Perfect.
You'll know what's going on much better than everyone else, and that's a little bit of the thank you that we can give you for you guys helping us out with support and also with beta feedback.
Perfect. We have 7 more minutes before we got to call the live stream. So hit us with maybe 1 or 2 more questions, and then we're going to call it there.
So I can take this one. A lot of people are asking about stage 0 and how much does it cost to go into stage 0. The Overworld was designed as a play to earn, free to play game, so it costs nothing to go into stage 0. Everyone can go there. You don't need to have own ILD or anything like that. You can just go there and it's free, and you can do it as many times as you want, and the economy is actually based on that.
Understood. So people can essentially experience all of the gameplay aspects of Illuvium Overworld. As you can see, everyone, there's 0 cost to go into stage 0, and it's going to look the same. It's going to play the same. Obviously, there's going to be the progression will be different. But everyone, so if you want to refer a friend or whatever, tell them to get in here and try it out. Tell them to come in stage 0. Get in here, have fun, be wowed by the graphics.
By the time we go live with the public beta, there may be some very slight differences in terms of how they play, but we can't go too deep into that now. It'll be roughly the same experience, I'll say.
Roughly the same. Okay, got it. All right, we'll keep you guys posted on that then, as ever. 1 more question, and then we got to call it, guys. I know for one of you it's midnight or 1 a.m. For other people, it's crazy o'clock around the world.
It's fine. It's no problem. A few people are asking, how does the Illuvium 0 tie in with the Overworld? Let's save this question for Ben.
So Illuvium 0 generates fuel, and fuel is what you use in the overworld to do various functions. So, for example, travel costs kryptons, fusion costs Hyperions, and forging and certain actions in the forge, not all of them, cost the other fuel whose name I now forget on the spot. Thank you. So it's they're basically like you would have in some games. You'd have a premium currency that allows you to do some behaviors. In our game, that's the role of fuel, but with the big difference being that rather than you buying the fuel from us, you buy from the balancer pool, and that fuel is being supplied by us and by the community.
Right. Players actually own land that they can harvest fuel on, which is really, really cool. Whereas a lot of other video games, yeah, you just have to go into their shop and then pay them for their diamonds or gold or whatever. And it all goes straight to the developer, and the player's not involved with that economy directly. It's just a one-way relationship. You give developer money, now shut up. In this case, that's not how it works. Players are able to interact directly and indirectly with each other through our economy, and that's exciting. That's like a whole nother meta game on top of the game, which is really, really fun.
It's going to be huge. It's the most important thing for me, is making sure that we get the players to be the economy. You guys will set the prices. You guys will do everything. And I think that's the way that it should be.
I love that. That's a great closing thought to end the stream on. Guys, thank you so much for making the time to be here to do this developer live stream with me. Wanted to just focus on showing the game and all the hard work the team has put in to get it to this point. We're so proud of our team. We're so grateful for our community. And any final thoughts you guys want to share? Otherwise, I think this was just a killer stream. And it looks like from chat, thousands of comments are telling me people are liking what they're seeing.
There's not much to dislike about our community and how they interact with us. So all I would say is just thank you so much to the people that have helped make this happen. That is both the community and the devs that are working on it. We have over 100 people working specifically on Overworld in various capacities, whether they be, devs, art, marketing, all sorts of things. And we would not be able to do this without all of their hard work and also the massive amount of support that the community give us.
Yeah, I just want to echo that and say thank you to the whole Overworld team. We have a lot of great people working there. Like Kostya did a great job on the whole capture flow. We had Daniele who worked on the travel system and the 3D previews in the UI. Ricardo and Marco did the whole job on our UI. We had Alexander, which is now on the autobattle team, who laid the base for our inventory system. Vahe, who moved from the autobattle team to help us with the bugs. And these are the people, like, I think I worked most closely with, and that doesn't include all of the talented environment artists, the animator, the VFX, and the sound effects artists that just work to bring this world together and make it feel as alive as it does.
Ben, you get the last word, buddy. What do you want to say?
I'd like to thank myself for being awesome.
I forgot Ben in my list. I should have included Ben and Aaron for the game design for all of this that you see on the screen right
Yeah,
now.
thanks for designing this or whatever, guys. Yeah, whatever. Okay, all right.
Whatever.
All right, guys, we're going to call it there. Enough jibba jabba from us. We cannot wait to have all of you, or as many of you as possible, beta testing Overworld. And if you have not yet already, play.illuvium.io/overworld. Go register, and hopefully we're going to get at least thousands of you in here. We're going to try to get as many of you in here as possible, and we appreciate you spending your time to provide feedback and test our experiences. We'll see you in the next episode of Illuvium Insider. Adios, everyone. Thanks again to our community.